Where does season 2 pick up?
Season 2 picks up 2 days after season 1 ended. So the Red Sky is still there, and Anna has not taken the responsibility for it yet publicly. So the people on Earth are starting to get panicked because they have no idea what it is, why it's there, where it came from. And the entire first episode is going to be kind of an exploration of that, and ultimately, how does Anna control this from a public relations standpoint?
Is that very much a theme then for all of season 2?
Pardon me?
Is that very much a theme for all of season 2?
Not Red Sky specifically. The Red Sky we're pretty much going to put to bed at the end of the first episode. But I think that what Red Sky is indicative of in season 2 is that the Red Sky was not part of Anna's plan, and I think that season 2 we're going to have a greater understanding of the mythology of the visitors, why they're here, how long they've been here, what their plan is, and I think the audience will start to get a real sense of how badly she screwed up by releasing the Red Sky too quickly. And on a forward-going basis, as we go along, once the audience knows why Anna's there, I think they'll have a greater understanding of things along the way that have the potential of really screwing up her plans.
In terms of storytelling, did you kind of learn lessons in season 1 that you're taking forward into season 2?
Probably the biggest lesson that we learned, just purely from a storytelling perspective, was that things seem to work a little bit better for us when we can have, within an episode, all of our characters circling one story instead of some characters kind of off on their own story. So, for example, back into the first episode of this season, dealing with the Red Sky, each of our characters will be dealing with Red Sky and the fallout from that in their own way. And that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to have everybody in scenes together, but everyone will be circling this one thing. And I think that that's going to be a better kind of formula for us in terms of storytelling for the season.
How far have you got the future mapped out?
Season 2 is pretty completely mapped out. The writers have been working for about 7 weeks now. They started at the beginning of June, and so we have scripts and full, complete outlines for the first batch of episodes, and then the middle of the season is being developed right now. But before we even started, we laid out, here's the game plan for the whole season, and we have then a vague sense of where we would go in season 3. But the great thing about television is that you can kind of evolve it and play to your strengths, and if something isn't working, you go, okay, that didn't work, let's get off of that real fast. And last year, for example, when we introduced the Hobbs character, we introduced him as a one-episode thing, and we loved him, and we loved the energy that he brought to the show, and it evolved, and we kept him he ended up being in all the episodes last year after we introduced him, and this year we've made him a series regular. So that's the great thing about television, is you play to your strengths.
But the overall strategy, I'd say, the long game, that hasn't changed.
That has not changed, no. And we have that pretty well mapped out for this season.
And you're coming back slightly later this season, although it's the same time as last year, I suppose. Are you worried about coming back in November?
No, I love coming back in November. I think that it is when we premiered last year. I think it'll probably be premiering the first week in November again. And I think it makes it more of an event, first of all. I also think that there's so many new shows launched in September that the way the TV season works these days is that many of those shows are gone within 3 or 4 weeks. They kind of come on, and either you work or you don't. The days of a show being given kind of a whole season to prove itself seem to be long gone. And so by the time we come on the air in November, I think that a lot of shows will have even failed by that point, which is not a comment necessarily on any particular show. I think it's just kind of the way television is working these days. So I'd kind of rather come on in an environment where there's a little less clutter, which I think will be the case by the time we get to November.